Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Do you know the secret? Do you believe that being born into a poor family is the sole reason for your poverty? In reality, that notion isn't entirely accurate. Your poverty is more closely tied to your surrounding environment, mindset, and approach when it comes to wealth creation and success. Have you ever wondered what it takes to achieve financial freedom? How to break free from the rat race and build a life of abundance? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our channel. Today, we have an exciting video where we'll be discussing the highly acclaimed book, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This book has transformed the lives of many, providing invaluable insights into personal finance and wealth creation. We'll be taking a deep dive into each chapter, summarizing the key points and lessons shared by the author. So, without further delay, let's begin. To ensure your continued engagement, we've chosen to split this video into two distinct episodes. In first episode, our focus will revolve around laying the foundation by providing an introductory background and then summarize the whole story. In second episode, our focus will revolve around summarizing the total 10 chapters of this book. Then we'll comment and explain the main takeaway. Without further delay, let us commence our journey with the first episode. First episode. First, let's meet the man behind the book, Robert Kiyosaki. An American investor, businessman, author, motivational speaker, and financial commentator who became well known in the recent years, has an estimated net worth of $100 million. Robert Kiyosaki did not come from a privileged upbringing. Unlike those from affluent backgrounds, his family, like many hard-working individuals, lacked financial expertise and often faced financial hardships. This begs the question, how did Robert manage to attain wealth? To unravel this intriguing story, we delve into his fascinating journey. Robert Kiyosaki was born in Hilo, Hawaii, in April 1947. In 1957, at age 9 years old, little Kiyosaki was attending the same public school where the rich people sent their children, for his town had lots of doctors, business owners, and bankers. Kiyosaki saw that the rich kids would separate themselves from him, for his family wasn't able to afford the newest collections of toys and bikes like them. So one day Robert asked his father, who had a PhD and completed multiple universities with excellent degrees, "Dad, can you tell me how to get rich?" Unfortunately, his dad didn't know the right answer because he was a rich himself. So he responded with, "Well, use your head, son. Stay in school, get good grades so you could find a safe and secure job." Robert Kiyosaki navigated a path that defied societal expectations. Growing up in modest circumstances, he overcame the constraints of his upbringing to achieve remarkable success. This book is the story of a person, Robert Kiyosaki, who has two fathers. The first was his biological father, he mentioned as Poor Dad, and the other was the father of his childhood best friend Mike, he mentioned as the Rich Dad. Both fathers taught Kiyosaki how to achieve success, but with very disparate approaches. It became evident to the Kiyosaki which father's approach made more financial sense. Throughout the book, Kiyosaki compares both fathers, their principles, ideas, financial practices, and degree of dynamism, and how his real father, the poor and struggling but highly educated man, paled against his rich dad in terms of asset building and business acumen. Let us introduce both characters at first, Poor Dad and Rich Dad, to distinguish their mindset, approach, way of thinking towards a successful life and wealth creation. Kiyosaki's real dad, he'll be referred as Po Dad. Po Dad. Holding a PhD degree. Despite holding a doctorate degree and attending Ivy League universities, he always struggled financially. He believed that he would never become rich, and the author emphasizes that this belief became a self-fulfilling prophecy. The author compares Po Dad to many fathers who encourage their children to excel in school and secure good jobs with reputable companies. Po Dad believed in working hard, saving money, and avoiding extravagant purchases. He considered a stable job with a reliable company as the ultimate aspiration of life. Basically, Po Dad's focus on education as the key to success. He always struggled with financial issues despite academic achievements. Po Dad's emphasis on job security, benefits, and raises, rather than the job itself. Being trapped in the rat race, working hard but not making financial progress. Po Dad's approach to money as a means to pay bills, contrasting with Rich Dad's approach of making money work for him. Little Kiyosaki has a friend named Mike, and which Mike's father would be referred as Rich Dad, who started mentoring Kiyosaki and his son Mike about how to really become rich. Rich Dad only completed 8 grades of formal education. Even he is not educated enough. However, his approach centers around financial education, entrepreneurship, and asset accumulation. The Rich Dad encourages taking calculated risks and leveraging opportunities. He believes in the power of entrepreneurship and building businesses as a means to generate wealth. The Rich Dad values financial independence and actively seeks ways to create multiple streams of income. Additionally, the Rich Dad emphasizes the importance of building and acquiring assets that generate cash flow. He encourages investing in income-producing properties, stocks, and businesses. The Rich Dad believes in the power of assets to generate wealth and financial stability. Furthermore, the Rich Dad emphasizes the significance of developing a mindset focused on abundance and wealth creation. He challenges conventional beliefs about money and encourages thinking outside the box to uncover opportunities and create wealth. Differences in mindsets, habits, and approach of Rich Dad and Po Dad. Throughout the whole book, Kiyosaki goes back and forth comparing the mindsets and the habits and approach of Rich Dad versus Po Dad. His Po Dad often said were, "The love of money is the root of all evil. I can't afford it. The rich should pay more in taxes to care of those less fortunate. Study hard so you can find a good company to work for. The reason I'm not rich is because I have kids. When it comes to money, play it safe, don't take risks. Our home is our largest investment and our greatest asset. I'll never be rich." However, the things that his Rich Dad said were pretty much the opposite. The lack of money is the root of all evil. How can I afford it? Taxes punish those who produce and reward those who don't produce. Study hard so you can find a good company to buy. The reason I must be rich is because I have kids. Learn to manage risk. My house is a liability, and if your house is your largest investment, you're in trouble. I am rich. And he always referred to himself as rich whenever he was talking about his life or what he was doing. What did Rich Dad teach to Kiyosaki? Rich Dad instilled in the minds of these children a solid financial foundation built upon numerous crucial principles. In order to become rich or wealthy, you must have the knowledge of asset and liabilities. You must very clearly understand what is asset and what is liabilities. Generally, an asset is something that puts money in my pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of my pocket. Let's delve into the details and explore further the various aspects that we regard as assets. Assets are businesses, stock, bonds, mutual funds, notes, royalties percent, income-generating real estate, patents, trademarks, copyrights, etc. On the other hand, liabilities are mortgages, taxes, credit card, other loans. The rich accumulate assets, while the poor and middle class often accumulate liabilities, mistakenly considering them as assets. The main reason for financial hardship is often a lack of understanding the distinction between an asset and a liability. Cash flow pattern of rich and poor. Let's have a closer look how the cash flow pattern works for rich and poor people. The individual mentioned here relies on a job for income, while expenses encompass necessities such as food, clothing, entertainment, and transportation and other necessities. However, they lack assets and instead have liabilities that consistently drain their finances, including mortgages, taxes, credit cards, loans, and even the house itself. Now, let's examine how the cash flow pattern truly operates for the rich. When we see the rich people behavior, rather than solely relying on their regular job for income, they focus on acquiring and owning assets that generate passive income. Passive income refers to earnings that don't necessitate exchanging time directly for money, allowing individuals to make money even while they sleep. Also, rich people don't usually have liabilities. They hate liabilities. In reality, the poor dad had a substantial income from his job, but his expenses consistently matched or exceeded his income, preventing him from investing in assets. Consequently, his liabilities, such as mortgages and credit card debts, continued to accumulate over time. This unfortunate situation arose from having income that equaled expenses and assets that were less than liabilities, leading the poor dad into debt even after his passing. Conversely, the personal financial statement of the rich dad exemplifies the outcome of a life dedicated to investing and minimizing liabilities. As a result, his income surpasses expenses due to having assets that outweigh liabilities. Rich dad has income that is greater than the expense because of assets is greater than liabilities. This is essentially the underlying reason why the rich continue to amass wealth. Their assets generate abundant income that surpasses their expenses, allowing them to reinvest the surplus back into the asset column. As a result, the asset column expands, leading to further growth in income. It's important to note that both dads work diligently, but their divergent mindsets and perspectives played a significant role in their financial outcomes. Kiyosaki learned from the rich dad that the majority of people are controlled by two emotions throughout their lives: fear and greed. These emotions trap individuals in a monotonous cycle of working, earning money, and paying bills. Fear keeps them stuck in this pattern, as they hope that by working and earning money, the fear of not having enough will dissipate. Rather than confronting this fear head-on, they react emotionally without rational thinking. Desire, often equated with greed, is another driving force behind people's pursuit of money. They desire money for the perceived joy it can bring. However, the joy derived from money is often short-lived, leading to a constant need for more money to sustain pleasure, comfort, and security. It is worth noting that fear and desire play significant roles in people's obsession with obtaining a higher-paying job through education. While education and employment are important, they do not entirely address the underlying fear. To overcome this fear, one must learn to understand and harness the power of money, rather than being afraid of it. Unfortunately, most educational institutions do not teach these crucial financial lessons, which can result in individuals becoming enslaved to money due to ignorance. Rich Dad emphasized the importance of using emotions to think, rather than thinking with emotions. Emotional thinking often manifests as statements like, "I need another job," or "I deserve a raise," or "I want this job because it's secure." Instead of reacting emotionally, it is essential to engage in clear thinking and consider if there is something missing or overlooked. For most people, their profession determines their income, but for the wealthy, their assets generate income. Applying these lessons to one's life can transform the perspective on wealth. If asked about the definition of wealth and the ability to survive without working, the rich would respond by saying, "I no longer work for money. Money works for me." Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more valuable content. See you next time.
This is a brand new channel. If you find any values from this video, please subscribe and like.
Your support will help us to stay motivated and keep this channel running. We are committed to providing you the best possible service.